presentation on holism, history, practice, and self-care by Hannah Farwell. Holism is a term defined as a theory that the universe, and especially living nature, is correctly seen in terms of interacting wholes, as of living organisms, that are more than the mere sum of elementary particles. While this concept can be applied to other fields, one of the more common places this term is used is in reference to medicinal practices. Holistic medicine, as might be assumed, approaches health and wellness from a comprehensive mindset that does not compartmentalize components of the human body as separate and disconnected, but rather considers how the components interact with each other to present a fuller view of the individual. Additionally, a holistic approach to medicine dismisses the reductionist mindset, which is prevalent in and foundational to conventional modern medicine. Practitioners of holistic medicine understand that internal and physiological factors, as well as external and environmental factors, all play a role in not only understanding an individual's current health, but also in improvement of health and wellness for that individual. Vitalism can be described in many ways, largely due to the intangible nature of this concept. One of the many ways to define it is the spirit of life, or more specifically, the forces that drive repair, growth, and regeneration of the human body. It could also be described as the vigor with which one approaches and experiences life, aside from the biological or physiological factors. One would suggest that a person with high vitalism has a vigor for life marked by enthusiasm, happiness, and involvement with the environment and people around them. Holistic medicine seeks to promote vitalism, so practitioners ultimately aim to identify the root causes of illness to prevent them from occurring in the first place. When wellness is present, vitalism is as well. Historically speaking, holistic views of medicine deeply drove the approaches to health and medicine in antiquity. Many cultures that we view as foundational, because they built cultures using the same societal structures we now use today, practiced holistic medicine as the norm. Unlike today, where we see holistic medicine as complementary and alternative to the standard, these cultures had no problem accepting that the environment, which included unseen but very real forces and energies, was directly linked with health. Egyptians saw the human body as they saw their land. The gods, which had power to give life to the earth through rivers, also dictated the health of individuals and entire nations. The Greeks similarly likened good or bad health to favor with life-giving gods, and even more so, saw the body as an expression of elemental forces which were tied to creation. Even in medieval Europe, it was thought that health of an individual and on a global scale was tied to cosmic sin, the lack of which brought good health to nations. Sinful persons or nations might be punished for their transgressions with a plague or other widespread disease. It was during the 18th and 19th centuries that modern medicine as we know it today took full force. Dismissed as the uninformed concept of ancient cultures, the concept of health as it related to the environmental forces and energies, or gods, was cast aside and replaced by a more conventional scientific method. As previously mentioned, reductionism contrasts holism in its approach to medicine because it examines the components of the body without viewing them in their relationship to each other. A practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine suggests that the biomedical model as we know it in the West has been based on the Cartesian, the mechanistic approach to understanding, which by its very nature required a smaller and smaller look at things and a look at things in isolation. This was based on the scientific model that felt that if you'd looked small enough, you'd eventually find the building blocks of the universe, and then you'd understand how everything worked. So therefore, in looking small, the big picture, the relationships between phenomena, the holistic nature of the universe, was omitted, let's say not recognized. My personal health concern, or PhD, is depression. I've struggled for many years with clinical depression and was officially diagnosed at 17 years old. The methods for treating my depression have been fairly standardized thus far. Combining both regular therapy and prescription medicines like Prozac have always been my approach. While I have had success through these methods, I believe conventional models of treatment do exactly that, treat. My mental illness will not go away completely, as I do believe genetics play a role in its presence. But I also believe that holistic practices such as meditation, reflection, and even acupuncture and nutrition counseling can help to improve quality of life for a sufferer of this illness. It is important to note here that although therapy is a conventional tool used for treating mental illness, it does in some ways promote holistic thinking. Therapy is used as a tool for expressing thoughts, some of which might be used to explore the causes of depression for the patient. Since holistic medicine seeks to find the root causes of illness, which may be a combination of internal and external factors, therapy can be used as a method. Since conventionally, clinical depression is thought to be caused by an often hereditary chemical imbalance of serotonin in the brain, other factors that cause depression might be disregarded by modern medicine. Practitioners of holistic medicine are more likely to consider environmental factors as well as lifestyle behaviors that either promote or prevent depression from flaring. To fully understand, treat, and prevent illness of any kind, one must consider that the mind, body, and spirit are connected. When one flourishes, it is more likely the others will as well, because they are interconnected. For example, feeling spiritually connected to others, whether it be in a traditional religious sense or not, can combat depression's tendency to isolate the sufferer. The mind is positively affected by fostering the spiritual aspects of one's life. Because connecting spiritually with the environment or others in one's community promotes positive mental mood, one is also less likely to live a sedentary lifestyle and more likely to be physically active for the body's physical health. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services suggests that policymaking, social factors, access to health services, individual lifestyle choices, and biology and genetics are all determinants of health. Many of these determinants overlap with the list of determinants used by holistic health practitioners. While some of them are anchored in societal and cultural changes that are greater than just one person, there are many that can be influenced by the individual. Self-care techniques are the ways in which one ensures that the determinants which fall under individual control can be used for bettering health and wellness. For example, nutrition, physical activity, and rest all have self-care practices that should be used for better quality of life. Good nutrition is key for the body's function, regeneration, and energy. Energy is perhaps the most important reason for proper nutrition, as our bodies are constantly repairing and rebuilding themselves. This takes a lot of energy, and our body's main source is the food we eat and the beverages we drink. Good nutrition is also key for maintaining healthy weight and preventing not only obesity, but also heart disease and diabetes, some of the top causes of death in the United States. Feeling healthy due to our nutrition, and additionally through physical exercise, has a direct effect on emotional mood and mental stability. Consistency in your life, whether positive or negative, usually reigns. If food is consistently eaten quickly, poorly, and under stressful conditions, then the body, mind, and spirit will be quickly depleted, lack energy, and eventually become stressed, unhappy, uncomfortable, and diseased. Similarly, research suggests that exercise not only helps to decrease risk for cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and obesity, but also lessens the likelihood one will suffer from depression and anxiety. Just like nutrition, rest is key for regeneration of the body physically and psychologically. In a society that encourages multitasking and constant activity, time for rest and reflection often takes a backseat in importance. However, studies show that this time is key for overall well-being. Not only do our bodies need time to rest physically during sleep, but mindful relaxation is necessary for emotional and mental health. For the reasons mentioned, I will continue to practice some recently adopted self-care techniques that have benefited my wellness. I have been exercising 3 times each week for the past 3 weeks for approximately 1 hour at a time. I also just started using a gym membership voucher through my employer for the YMCA, so I look forward to adding variety to my workout routine. I know that this exercise, in combination with my improving nutrition, does improve my mental state. Nutritionally, I have started visiting a local farmer's market in my area to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables. I feel positively about contributing to my local farmers and community, and it has also been a fun way to seek out healthy new recipes to try at home. Lastly, rest plays a huge role in my life. I've continued with my recent trend of going to bed early enough to have at least 7 full hours of sleep, and I also build in time to meditate or mindfully relax throughout the day. I find this time invaluable as someone with a very busy schedule. Environmentally speaking, it is very important to understand that we are part of nature and not separate from it. I believe we live in a culture that seeks to distance us from that through technological advances, much of which have great benefit to our society. However, I find myself suspicious of the willingness with which we culturally accept that distance. It is important to remember that we are animals and part of nature, not above it. Forgetting this can cause a sort of existential angst or suffering and can even do harm to the environment. When we imagine that the environment is somehow separate from us, we forget that our actions have an effect on our existence and long-term well-being. By participating in farmers markets and supporting local agriculture, we support the nature around us, and meditating seeks to enlighten the practitioner to the non-dualist nature of the world. There is no other that is separate to attach to or withdraw from. All of these things make meaning out of life, which combats the inherent tendencies to withdraw during stages of depression due to feelings of isolation. Modern medicine has given cultures forms of treatments and understanding of disease and illness that could never have been imagined by doctors throughout history. However, there are shortcomings to the approach taken by conventional medicine. The art of medicine is based on more than a deep knowledge of the nature of disease and its treatment. It resides equally in a deep knowledge of health and the means whereby it can be maintained and furthered. Because we culturally imagine that illness has a conventional cure which can be provided by modern doctors, we collectively disregard the importance of lifestyle and self-care choices that are in our control to implement for better wellness. Practitioners of traditional medicine in modern times experience an uneasiness with this sort of blanket acceptance, that our health is and should be dictated solely by post-illness treatment with conventional medicine. The recent surge in holistic medicine is largely due to this uneasiness. Many practitioners of holistic medicine today understand that both conventional and holistic practices have their place, and that it would be irresponsible to dismiss one for fear of violating the sort of big picture view that holistic medicine preaches. The term used to describe this combination is systems medicine. Systems medicine approaches health by considering all components of health and disease. There are multiple levels to a human and their existence in their environment, all of which can affect wellness. By expanding medicine beyond the straight reductionism we encounter in today's modern medicine, we examine the whole person, not just the sum of its parts.